On the 30th of November, my true love sent to me, do you want a cup of tea? Gallimera, Gallimera, Gallimera. Well, I can't believe that today is the 30th of November. Yesterday was pretty miserable. We did have heavy rain throughout the day here in Macardo. This morning, things are looking up. We've got blue skies with just wispy clouds running through them. So I think we might be in tune for some good weather. Looking over the back of the area towards Kerry and Bureaucracy and that. Little bit grim. No, it's not really grim. I would say that's hope there on the horizon. There you go. I think good weather. Although it was forecast for it to be bad today, I think might still be in the offing. All right, well, one bit of a gloomy cloud up there, but other than that, I think it probably looks worse on here as you're looking at it, as I'm looking at it here outside of the house. And let's have a quick look down the back, overlooking Laguna and going through to Kalamaki. And guess what? Yeah, the sun is there. It is, as you can see from looking at the ground, we had rain obviously yesterday and through the night, quite a bit of rain through the night, but on the whole it's actually looking a lot better today. Anyway, I don't know where you are at the moment. I hope the weather is improving where you are as we're into the last day of November, and we are just a few hours away from the start of December, and we are in basically day 24 of the lockdown here as well. And we should have been, well, this should have been our last day lockdown, and then we would have been free. But unfortunately, we're still here until the 7th, and whether we will stay in lockdown at the 7th, we shall wait and see. Me personally, I have a feeling we'll be doing a bit longer than the 7th, the way the Prime Minister has been talking in kind of signals that don't be too surprised if we do longer than till the 7th. So anyway, I'll keep you informed on what's going on. I'm very excited about today's news because there's one segment of this news I really am looking forward to telling you, and I'll get there in just a short while. But anyway, it is the 30th of November. It is a Monday as well, and it is day 24 of the lockdown. So let's have a look at the COVID stats for the last 24 hours here in Greece. The Greek Health confirmed on Saturday night, on Sunday night, that 1,193 new infections were about. That was up on yesterday, which drove the total number of infections to 104,227 since the beginning of the pandemic. Of those new cases, 10 of them were reported from coming from outside of the country through ports of entry. No new cases here in Zakynthos. However, Kefalonia has one new case. Lefkada, another little Ionian island, has one case. And guess what? 0 cases in Corfu. I bet Corfu are pleased about that. Also as well, on the sad side of it, 98 new cases were reported, which was down on yesterday's because there was 121 cases reported to you on on Saturday. So it's 121 cases, but yesterday only 98 cases. So they are going down, bringing the total number of fatalities since the actual virus started to 2,321. Again, the average age of those that passed away were 80 years of age with underlying health conditions. However, we have had people of younger ages pass away, but no news of anybody of any younger ages passing away in quite a while now. As for the incubated cases, people in ICUs, the number of incubated patients also went down yesterday to 603. The average age of those in incubation is 65. Normally with underlying health conditions, although doctors did report there were people younger than that, people at the ages of 40, and also people in their 20s who are being incubated. But at the moment, the most common age group is those over the age of 65. Anyway, 575 people have passed through the ICUs and have been sent home. Anyway, a truly miraculous story actually came from Corfu that was told over the weekend about the hospitalisation of a lady of 102 years of age who was suffering from COVID. Not only did she recover from the virus, but it's also been considered a national record that the lady has survived COVID. She was actually transferred to the hospital of Corfu for treatment, as the hospital where she lived in Ionia was full to capacity. The woman showed severe symptoms, having a high fever for weeks. However, she didn't need to be incubated, and following days of fight from her with the virus, these are the wordings that the Greek reporters are using, the woman managed to recover, becoming the oldest person in Greece to survive from the coronavirus. So good luck to her. That's all I could say. She's leading the way, the lovely old lady. 102, my God. And she's still in with the fight. Anyway, on Wednesday, the doctors at the Corfu hospital decided that the elderly woman should be able to return to the care home in Ionia, where she emerged victorious from a fight. However, currently the hospital of Corfu hosts 3 more patients from the same care home. So that's interesting. She's got over it. That's the main thing. She's going to go back to a care home where they've had the case before. So hopefully she'll probably go into some form of isolation once she gets into the care home, so that she can't pass it on because it's been through a system and she's had it. But anyway, 102 years of age. Not sure what the record is for anybody in the UK or any other countries being that old and getting over the coronavirus. Anyway, the police have been out in droves again over the weekend. They're continuing their checks on the Ionian Islands. On Saturday, 3 people in Zakynthos and 3 people in Corfu, 2 in Lefkada as well, were stopped and fined €300 for not wearing masks. In addition, there were 9 infringements confirmed here on Zakynthos, 18 in Corfu, 5 in Kefalonia and 2 in Lefkada for breaking of movement restrictions, i.e. they hadn't been probably booking out, or no wording of unnecessary journey, but people not booking out or forgetting to book out. All right, so once again, if you're going to go out, going to go into town, because Mondays normally in Greece are very busy, everybody rushing to their tax office, rushing to their accountant. That's if you're running a business, mind, to do business there on a Monday. However, at the moment, I don't think people are. But once again, if you're going out doing anything, it's getting near the end of the month. Oh, it is the end of the month now. We're all off to pay bills, like your phone bills and your electric and whatever. Make sure you book out, okay? Don't get a 300 fine just because you forgot to put your mask on or book out, all right? You don't need it at this time with what's going on. Anyway, there's some other good news for Zakynthos and for the Ionian Islands, actually. Found this little story yesterday. Zakynthos has been approved to receive €7 million from a €25 million fund for the Ionians, which will go to the construction of road projects and flood defences of the islands. Anyway, among the roads that are earmarked to get some money pumped into them is the Zakynthos, the Vasilikos Road, the road from Zakynthos to Volimes, also roads around the areas of Amberlockerbie, which is just up the road from us, Macardo, where I live, Alikez, Silavi and Gericas. They're all going to be getting repairs done to them from this fund, and the money will be the money will be utilised between 2021 and 2023. According to the schedule that's been issued. Anyway, the other Ionian Islands that are going to receive money from the fund include Kefalonia and Corfu, are going to get 7 million apiece, and 4 million is going to go to Lefkada for their roads. Also, flood defences as well are also going to be beefed up. We've had problems in the past with flooding here as well. Anyway, the Deputy Regional Governor, Mr. Tsatsopoulos, stated in an interview that we must help because our island has lagged behind in terms of infrastructure. and where there is a problem, he sounds like Margaret Thatcher, and where there is a problem with road safety, we will provide a solution. We will make the island a construction site to change things in order to keep our pre-election promises, and we give weight to the daily life to facilitate the life of the inhabitants. All very grandiose. Basically, he says, I'm going to put some money in the roads. All right. Anyway, regarding the flood defences, Mr. Stansopoulos said that in an effort they'll be making efforts to clear rivers and torrents, and also clean out drainage areas which have been left blocked for many years. So basically, water has somewhere to run when we have heavy weather. Yeah, we have had flooding here on Zakynthos at times when the weather has been extreme. So that's good to see. And obviously, a lot of the rubbish that's in those areas will also be removed as well. Anyway, another thing that might be of interest to some people, especially those living here, you may have not have heard of this programme, but phase 4 of the Cheap State Loans programme, known as Deposit to be Returned, that actually expires today. That has given the Greek Finance Ministry a message of optimism, perpetrating to the composition of the applicants to date. Now, according to the ministry's source, it appears that the number of companies to have applied for credit on favourable terms has doubled compared to previous phases. Now, a source estimated that this is particularly thanks to the fact that only half of the credit issued needs to be returned. And this is this scheme that the Greek government has been offering, where they'll give you a company a loan and you only have to pay half of it back. And a lot of people are taking this loan. The only requirement of that taking that loan is that you are not to fire any of your employees. You are to keep your employees for your company, and you cannot furlough them. Well, you can probably furlough them because they're still technically getting paid, but you cannot fire them. So anyway, as I said, this allows entrepreneurs to take the risk and commit themselves into not laying off any staff until the end of March, as the programme conditions actually state. Now, the Independent Authority for Public Revenue, in a statement released on Saturday, said data showed that up until this weekend, 364,244 eligible recipients had submitted applications for the state credit through the My Business Support platform. So you might want to look at that online. It is in English, the actual wording, My Business Support platform, because they are talking about a fifth platform, a fifth phase to this later. All right. Anyway, the same sources at the ministry estimated that some 65,000 to 70,000, of which were many companies, small companies, had gone for the loan, which was up on the previous 3 phases, which were between 33 to 37,000 companies went for financial aid, maybe because they hadn't heard about it, or maybe they thought there's maybe a con here somewhere or a fix in there to give out a loan and only have to pay half of it back. It's also noted that there was an increase in applications by small businesses who hired employees, which soared to 78,000 and up to 20,000 compared to the previous phases. Anyway, the other 210,000 applicants that were made were by freelance professionals. By that, I would think they would mean people like people who work in IT, people who work in as accountants, freelance accountants, etc., and also people that do a job where they don't work with a company but work on behalf of companies. We do get a bit of that happening here in Greece, and it seems to be on the rise as well. Anyway, the loans phase has already topped 1.8 billion euros against the original target of 1.2 billion, and it's expected that that is going to rise to about 2 billion by today, actually, constituting a significant support to the market. So obviously I think the stock exchange is involved in there somewhere. Anyway, the ministry statement added that 410 million euros was actually actually paid into the bank accounts of 97,000 recipients on the deposit to be returned scheme on Saturday. So people are already starting to receive the money, and therefore a week after the start of the online platform operation for the fourth phase. So they are actually giving money out quite quickly. And the total number of recipients who have already collected their loans was around about 319,835. And they say that this fifth phase is going to start in January. All right. So once again, you might want to start looking into that if you're somebody who's running a business here or a small business, and things are looking a little bit sketchy for you. You never know. You might be entitled to be able to take advantage of that. Basically getting the loan that you require, and obviously only having to pay half of it back. Knowing the way the Greek mentality would be, they will look at what they owe and double it. So that the loans get paid off, and they're left with a bit of cash in their hand. But that's just my way of surmising and thinking on the Greek mentality. But anyway, check it out online and just see if that might be something for you. Now, the story that I really am looking forward to telling you is an interesting article that I read in the Greek press over the weekend about the state of the Greek bureaucracy, comparing it to the famous Monty Python Dead Parrot sketch. Yes, so I'm going to go into a bit of John Cleese now, all right? I'm really shocked that the Greeks would even know or understand Monty Python, and especially the Dead Parrot sketch. But I'll read you how they've written this, which is... they compared Greek bureaucracy to the famous argument between a pet shop owner and a customer complaining about the dead parrot that he had purchased not only half an hour from this very boutique. Right, the shopkeeper refuses to accept the claim that even though the bird is obviously dead, he's ceased to be, he's expired, he's gone to meet his maker, he's a stiff, he's bereft of life and rests in peace. If you hadn't nailed him to the perch, he'd be pushing up the daisies. Anyway, there was a recent front page story about the effects of the pandemic on the Greek civil service, which was a catalogue of stories of madness from frustrated citizens in their efforts to get important bureaucratic work done with the underperforming state. Right, that's the words in the article, not my words. All right. The basic issue seems to be the citizens of the coronavirus related the basic issue seems to be that because of the corona related restrictions, citizens need to make an appointment by telephone to take care of any business that cannot be conducted online. Now the problem is that no one is at the end of the phone picking up the phone to arrange an appointment. So the people then who give up try to get through and appear at the relevant person's service in person. So in other words, they get fed up trying to do it on the phone, so they go down to actually knock on the door of whatever it is bureaucratic building they have to go to, and are then turned away for not having an appointment. One of the stories in the report concerned an accountant who called the tax office 20 times before he got through, and he said he felt like throwing a party, of course alone, so he didn't break any rules because he was then able to get whatever he had done. Anyway, in another story, an engineer claimed that most of the town planning offices that he works with don't have email, all right, and they certainly will not pick up a phone. Anyway, it was also noted that some civil servants are doing nothing while claiming to be working from home, leaving all the work to others. And of course, there is nothing new, of course. After all, who is there to assess their performance, to reward those who do their jobs properly and reprimand the slackers? Anyway, the answer to that is also well known as well. No one. All right. Anyway, the state may be broken. This is obviously from the article again, but it is still responsible for the operation of the country. It is responsible, for example, for defining what is an emergency and what is not an emergency.
However, despite the pandemic, an emergency may even be the private business of a crony, all right? Another symptom of the lack of oversight. In other words, if it's somebody that you know, things get done. Not always not what you know, it's who you know to get things done. And obviously nobody's taking any oversight. You might have the same problem as this guy, but because he knows that guy, it gets done, all right? Anyway, and then there are the civil servants and citizens just taking advantage of the situation, as there always will be. And after all, delays and red tape snarls are particularly synonymous with the Greek civil service, which the government is trying to digitally modernise. For digital governments to work, however, it must embrace a fundamental principle, which I am going to agree 100% there. Digitising bureaucracy should not be the aim as much as reducing it. Get rid of some of the crap that you have to go get bits of paper stamped and signed. For what reason? God knows, because it keeps someone in a job, all right? So again, let's get a more efficient service with less bits of paper and less stress, all right? Otherwise, and I love this last bit, otherwise no one will admit that the parrot is obviously dead. It's just because it's nailed to the perch. His metabolic processes is now our history. He's off the twig. He's kicked the bucket. He's shoved off the mortal coil. He's run down the curtain and gone to he's run down the curtain and gone to join the bleeding choir invisible. This is an ex-parrot in brackets bureaucracy. There you go. So I've got to be honest, I just love that article. Right, let's have a quick look who's tuning in. I think I've got a few first-time people tuning in thinking, what is he on? Emily Shamati, nice to have you tuning in. Nice to see you there. Pauline Patterson is also watching as well. Nice to have you tuning in, Pauline. Also, Barry Leatherdale over there in Essex is tuning in as well. Nice to see you, fella. Also, Steve Hinkling in Stoke-on-Trent is watching as well. Steve has booked about 3 different holidays at the moment here, or should I say flights here at the moment to Zakynthos. Some of them, he's got one flight for about £14, all right? Once again, EasyJet at the moment are doing lots of very, very cheap offers. Some of them are so cheap that you just cannot ignore them and start booking dates. Now, whether you're going to turn up or not, that's another thing. But the point is, book them, show that there's an eagerness for people to return, and you shall come. All right. So anyway, cheers for that, Steve, for letting us know last night about all the... I think you've booked 3 or 4 flights at the moment, hoping to get over in the summer and during half terms and other times when you can get away from your job teaching in a school. So once again, check out EasyJet for flights. They are so cheap at the moment. Another great ex-RAF Reg buddy, Frank Proud, is tuning in as well. Nice to see you there, fella. Also, Reg Vardy as well, tuning in as well. Thank you, Reg, for your comments as well on the shows that I've been doing, especially the last one, show number 14, which is up online at the moment, which is charting quite nicely at the moment in the old Mixcloud chart. Thank you very much. We were talking about the Sex Pistols, how they become a national treasure, how the music of the punk era was all about the doom and gloom of the future, no opportunities for youth, etc., etc. And that was back in 1977 when there was a 4-day week, but bands were still able to produce such great music which reflected society. We've had people on lockdown and nothing. No stirring music to show the era. Yes, we've had a couple of charity records and we've had some gangster rap, but we've had nothing of any substance, no change of a genre or anything. Has everybody run out of ideas? There's nothing to sort of not celebrate, but nothing to motivate the generation. You know, it's all sad love songs and covers and nothing with a bit of bite and a bit of punch, like Sham 69, the Sex Pistols, X-Ray Specs, The Clash, The Saints, Johnny and the Vibrators even, you know, nothing. So again, all you budding musicians that are out there with all this time on your hands, I know the excuses are coming. We can't get the band together. Well, we got bloody Zoom, haven't you? Zoom conference something. Let's hear some music that reflects what's going on and reflects about a very grim future for our youth. And so thanks for that, Reg. I really appreciated that. Anyway, Andy Orchard, also, he's a frontline worker. He's tuning in as well. Julie Anstill is also tuning in. Aaron Vardy has said to me, Galamera to you. Or is that, have you written, yeah, that is Galamera. I thought you'd written, what do you call it, squid. I can't remember what squid's called now. Anyway, Karen Kefalanis is also watching as well. Margaret Miller is watching as well. Maria Condisis is also watching as well. Nice to have you tuning in. We've also got somebody from some other Greek department tuning in as well, which is nice. Nice to see you. I'm going to give you a wave back. Give you a wave as well. Dean Oliver, Raffredge Buddy, also tuning in as well. Les Hardman, Raffredge Buddy, tuning in as well. Nice to see you. Tim Miles is also tuning in. Raffredge Buddy. Rosewood as well is tuning in. She's a resident here normally. I'm not sure where you are, my love, whether you're back in the UK. I know you were looking after your mum for a while. So anyway, nice to have you tuning in as well, checking on what's going on. My old boss, Mike Ryan, tuning in. He was a big Monty Python fan, I remember. It's as if breath of life has gone forthwith. Anyway, nice to have you tuning in there, Mike. Also as well, oh, and that's it. That's all the people tuning in. Right, what am I doing today? Well, today, booking out number 2. All right, be going into town, pay the phone bills, see what I'm in for, a bit of surprise there. And also, just to remind you, don't forget my next broadcast will be on Wednesday, 3 o'clock UK time, 5 o'clock Greek time, going out live from Studio 1 in Macardo. If you've got any requests, dedications, messages, or any observations or anything, pop them in the comments below. All right, I'm looking forward to doing that show, and we'll be into December then. We'll be into December by Wednesday, definitely. I think it'll be the 3rd of December then. Yeah, and Christmas. Oh, and I'm going to start a new feature, which Jane reminded me this morning. When we did the last lockdown, I used to do a little online blog, just a written one, of each day of the lockdown. I had an advent calendar I'd found under the sink. And every day I'd open a little hatch. We'd take out a piece of chocolate, whatever it was, reflect on the day. So we're going to do the same. And it was funny because the advent calendar lasted exactly the length of the last lockdown. And so we're opening an advent calendar to take us up to Christmas anyway, as normal. And again, it'll just be the highlight of the day of what is behind the door. All right, as we get ready. And as again, how are we going to be celebrating Christmas this year in comparison to the UK, where you're only allowed, is it 6 people round the house? Over in Greece at the moment, we've been told provisionally 2 families. Depends what they mean by 2 families, because you know how big Greek families are. We shall wait and see. Anyway, I've got another person who's tuning in, who's a neighbour from round the back. Maureen is tuning in, probably sat on a balcony for a good signal. Nice to have you here. Right, that's it from me. I will speak to you again tomorrow. We'll see how the day goes, see what's happening. Monday's always a big day for things going on. And you look after yourselves wherever you are. Enjoy your lockdown. Try not to go too mental. And please, any bands out there, in fact, I tell you what, if there are any bands out there who do tune in, or do you know of any bands who are putting together stuff? I do get stuff from the jewelers. I get a lot of Scar people actually mainly dropping me stuff. Let's hear some music that reflects what's going down with the lockdown. Anybody's got anything like that, I'd love to hear it, and I'll play it on my show. And yeah, and it'd be just nice. A bit of mental health work as well. That just reminds me. All those ex-forces, ex-emergency services, ex-police, if you get an invite which is from me for Operation Spartan, all right, it's not a hoax, it's a very good site for ex-forces, ex-emergency workers It deals with all sorts of issues from mental stress, PTSD, also claims with councils and charities and stuff like that, and also just a place to go and swap experiences of bureaucracy to get things done, have a bit of a laugh, military black humour, which is not censored. It's a private site as well, so nobody else, unless you're invited, is allowed in. So it's a rather exclusive club. Just click the acceptance if you want to get involved, and they're expecting, you to turn up. And the nice thing about it is when they get a new member, they always say hi from all the different members as to welcome you to the club. All right, so I just thought I'd point that out to ex-forces people. Anyway, I better go. Quick shout to Sakis Georgios, who's also tuning in as well. Nice to see you, mate. I will speak to you again soon. You take care. Ta-ra.